Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Could this upcoming session be the one where lawmakers tackle the issue of LGBT rights in Indiana?
My rights and my privileges are not protected and are being eroded every day.
It's the same debate, but is a solution coming? Revisions to the Clean Air Act mean there are fewer pollutants in the air we breathe, but it's having an unintended consequence on crops.
One thing that benefits one industry or one entity may be a harm to another.
Corn yields are down because of sulfur deficiency. Ahead, we travel to northern Indiana, where one farmer is experimenting with ways to protect his crop. Plus, our Statehouse reporter joins us for the latest on the U.S. Senate race. And a new program is working to bring more titles to people who are visually impaired. Those stories and the latest news headlines from across the state right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, first, an update to a story that we brought you last week. The only woman in the United States ever convicted of feticide for ending her own pregnancy has been released from prison. A jury convicted Purvi Patel of feticide last year for ending her pregnancy by taking abortion-inducing drugs. But in July, an appeals court decided only third parties who end a pregnancy can be convicted of feticide. The court did uphold a lesser charge of neglect of a dependent. Lead defense attorney Lawrence Marshall says although the feticide charge would have set a precedent for similar cases, the neglect charge doesn't carry the same weight.
That has nothing to do with the precedent involving the abortion issue, which is that a woman in Indiana cannot be prosecuted with regard to her own abortion.
Patel was resentenced Wednesday to 18 months in prison. With credit for good behavior, she was released Thursday. The future of LGBT rights in Indiana remains uncertain after a legislative panel tasked with studying the issue says it's unlikely to make any recommendations. The panel heard testimony from people on both sides of the issue this week. Barbara Brosier was there and has more.
It was the same debate.
Society must step forward to show our trans loved ones that they are indeed valued and valuable.
In a different venue.
My rights and my privileges are not protected and are being eroded every day.
After multiple bills aimed at providing some protections for LGBT Hoosiers failed earlier this year, a study committee heard more than 2 hours of testimony on the same issue this week. Members of the LGBT community, as well as allies and large Indiana businesses, urged legislators to adopt protections for sexual orientation and gender identity.
As an Indiana headquartered company, we simply cannot rest until all who reside here in our home state have the same protections as everyone else.
But others spoke out against equal protections for LGBT Hoosiers. Some say they're unnecessary, and others worry about how such legislation could impact public restrooms. They expressed fears that the law could put their children's safety at risk.
My daughter, she's not comfortable seeing the opposite sex organ on somebody in the same bathroom as her.
The panel ended without legislators responding to the testimony or discussing any possible legislation that might be introduced when the session starts in January. Lawmakers have debated this issue for the past several years. Senator Travis Holdman says he was disappointed to see little of the debate around the issue change since February, when many of the same people testified on the Senate floor.
Nobody said, here's some middle ground, here's some compromise, we can walk a path down the middle between the two sides on this issue, and nobody came forward today to offer that. I think everybody knew that's going to have to be the outcome.
The panel could still make a recommendation to the legislature on how to move forward, but some committee members are hesitant.
It'll come down to what the committee wants. Right now at this point, I've spoken to several of them. They want to see what the courts do because they think that's where it's going to end up, just like some other issues we've dealt with the last couple of years.
The study committee will meet 2 more times, but won't discuss LGBT rights. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
The committee chair says they have too many other issues on their agenda. And now for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brozier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. The attorney for a woman charged with child abuse says Indiana's religious freedom law, or RFRA, gives her the right to discipline her children, according to her evangelical Christian beliefs. Kin Partiang of Indianapolis was arrested in February on abuse and neglect charges. She's accused of beating her son with a coat hanger. Her attorney argues the state can't interfere with her right to raise her children as she deems appropriate, and cited biblical scripture in her defense. Earlier this month, the ACLU also cited RFRA and filed a suit against the state on behalf of a Muslim inmate, alleging the jail refuses to serve him meals that conform with his faith. There's a new political action committee on the scene, and it was formed by Sikhs. There are over 10,000 members of the Indian religion living here in Indiana. The founder and chairman of Six Pack says many Sikhs came to Indiana because of its cheaper housing and better business climate.
We are peace-loving people, and we came from India. And this is a nice country where sky is the limit, and majority of people, anywhere you go in Indiana, majority of people are great.
The group is nonpartisan, but says it will support Sikh-minded candidates in the upcoming election. So far, Six Pack has raised nearly $6.5 million. Their goal is to raise $5 million in the next 5 years. The Republican challenger of Democratic State Superintendent Glenda Ritz wants authorities to investigate an education department contract that's recently come under fire. At issue are 2 contracts for a mobile app development that weren't put up for a competitive bid process. Instead, they were awarded directly to AT&T, who worked with a software developer that later gave one of Ritz's aides an executive position. A spokesman for Ritz says the Department of Education followed the correct procedures and was not told there were objections to the deal. Former Subway pitchman Jared Fogle says parents of one of his female victims are to blame for what he describes as her destructive behaviors. Fogle made that argument in a Thursday filing in U.S. District Court in Indianapolis. The motion also argues the parents may be responsible for the girl's injuries alleged in a civil lawsuit against him. Fogle is serving a 15.5-year sentence for child pornography and sex abuse. Clark County can move forward with establishing a syringe exchange program after months of waiting. The state health commissioner declared a public health emergency in the community Monday. Now, this comes nearly 8 months after Clark County submitted its initial request. The county still has to apply for the grants, and there's no timeline for starting the exchange. Clark County is the 6th county to receive state approval for a syringe exchange program. The Indiana State Health Department will distribute more than $150,000 worth of the opioid overdose intervention drug naloxone to Indiana County health departments. Community members will be able to go to the local health department to get training on how to administer naloxone and even receive a free dose. The state health department will give more than 3,400 kits to 20 counties. According to the statement, Indiana saw 170 heroin overdose deaths in 2014. That's compared to 54 heroin overdose deaths in 2010. And National Overdose Awareness Day is an occasion for people to gather and remember those they've lost to drug addiction. It was celebrated this week. As J.D. Gray reports, people are hoping more awareness will help erase the stigma associated with addiction.
Community members gathered on the steps outside of the Monroe County Courthouse Wednesday evening to remember those who have passed away from drug overdoses. Many brought pictures of their loved ones and posted them on the side of the Indiana Recovery Alliance van. Lori Bowles lost her son to an overdose in 2008. He was 25.
We go to all the vigils, and we were down here for one last year, and we try to tell his story so that, you know, other people can get, you know, help.
Brandon Drake is a recovery coach. He says he organized the event as a way to destigmatize drug use.
Up until the last 5-6 years, it was, you lived in a dark place with no one to turn to. Events like this actually bring it out into the light, allow people to come out and talk about people that they've lost.
Since 1999, deaths from drug overdoses have quadrupled in Indiana. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm J.D. Gray.
The infant mortality rate among black babies in Indiana is more than twice the state's average, according to data from the Indiana State Department of Health. In 2014, 14.7 babies per every 1,000 born to black mothers died before their first birthday. The state's total infant mortality rate was a little over 7 per every 1,000. Indiana blood centers are rushing to comply with a federal rule that all blood donated in the United States be tested for the Zika virus. Indiana blood donors have previously been screened through a questionnaire. The Indiana Blood Center Executive Vice President says the test was only recently approved by the FDA, so most donation centers don't have the equipment or the know-how to use it. The deadline to start the additional testing is November. Indiana University's police department will soon begin wearing body cameras. Officers will have discretion about when and where to use them. The university began exploring whether to adopt the technology after the fatal shooting of Michael Brown in 2014 in Ferguson, Missouri. Interim Superintendent of Public Safety Bob True says the cameras will add more transparency.
We know it's not a perfect technology, that sometimes it won't work, sometimes an officer will forget to turn it on, but at the end of the day, it should shine a light on those day-to-day interactions we have with the community. And
the department is hoping to begin using the cameras by the end of the year. The technology will be evaluated each year with a comprehensive review every 5 years. The Indiana Department of Education wants schools to background check all staff, including volunteers and coaches, in hopes of addressing growing concerns over sexual misconduct in Indiana schools. The department's plan wouldn't require background checks for people beyond licensed educators, but it would provide a discounted rate for schools to get services from certain background check providers. A $15 million plant research center at Purdue University is now open. The center became the first of its kind in North America this week. Researchers will study the growing habits of cash crops at the school's 1,400-acre research farm. The process is called phenotyping, studying the visible traits of the plants down to their genes. The new center will also use and study drone and sensor technology to analyze field conditions. The small building that's home to the Bloomington ice cream shop, The Chocolate Moose, is going away, but the business will remain in the same location. The Bloomington City Council voted unanimously this week to approve the redevelopment of the property. The redevelopment plan includes a 10-year tax abatement for the property in exchange for 15 bedrooms of workforce housing.
Oh, I think the affordable housing piece, it's really groundbreaking. Bloomington is not the only city in the country that is dealing with this type of issue where prices for housing are artificially inflated due to a certain population, ours being students.
Previously, the City Council had discussed granting 3 years of tax abatement for 7 bedrooms of workforce housing. Workforce housing ensures affordable rent to those earning less than or equal to the Bloomington living wage.
We'll be inside a new building that will give us not only indoor seating so we can be open year round instead of being seasonal. We can serve ice cream all year round to Bloomington. And also we'll have a covered and uncovered outdoor courtyard.
Loveless says the current chocolate mousse stand was getting old, and a new building will allow for better business. Construction on the new building is expected to begin in November and be complete by next summer. Officials are saying this summer's humid weather and a lack of air conditioning could lead to mold growth in a combined elementary and middle high school campus in Henryville. The school complex was rebuilt after being damaged during a March 2012 tornado outbreak that swept the area, killing 14 people. The building has been inspected several times this summer for mold. And cleanup is moving slowly a week after 2 tornadoes ripped through Kokomo. The tornadoes downed hundreds of trees and damaged more than 1,000 homes. Even with additional resources such as dump trucks and heavy machinery loaned from other Indiana cities, the mayor estimates cleanup is only about half finished. No one died or even was seriously hurt in the storms. Officials don't have an estimate of how much cleanup will cost. But Joe, it certainly is amazing to see the Kokomo community come together once again.
Our heart certainly goes out to them.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Barbara. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. A lack of sulfur in the air is creating problems for farmers. We'll talk to a farmer who may have found a solution. And a behind-the-scenes look at a new program that is making more books accessible to the blind and visually impaired. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Nature takes you places where you've never gone before.
It's watching something that's actually happened.
Nature sure draw me in the story.
Just their power and their grace.
You know, it was just so beautiful to watch them.
The movement and just watching the body and watching the chase.
Like this huge, lush, vibrant watercolor.
Gems.
There was such a shot of underneath watching these elephants swim in this deep water.
I had no idea even they could swim like that.
I saw one monkey pulling on this one monkey's tail, and the monkey like, man, what you doing? What you doing?
It's like the theater of the wild or something.
7 billion trillion animals living on one planet.
It's like more colorful than than you think life can possibly be.
Somewhere between the mystique and the beauty of it is reason enough to sit down and watch.
That's life, and that's nature.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is backing Representative Todd Young in Indiana's U.S. Senate race. The National Chamber previously worked closely with Young's Democratic rival, former Indiana Governor and Senator Evan Bayh. Young criticizes Bayh for votes cast in the Senate, including one supporting banking regulations and the stimulus package. Bayh hit back at Young, criticizing him for accepting campaign contributions from Carrier after the manufacturer announced it was leaving Indiana and taking with it 1,400 Hoosier jobs. Our Statehouse reporter Brandon Smith joins us now. Brandon, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is supporting Todd Young. Help us put this into perspective. How influential is that?
Well, it's definitely influential when it comes to money. The Chamber's endorsement comes with an ad buy around the state of more than $1 million. So while it's not necessarily surprising, they had supported Young in the primary, most of the money they spend is supporting Republicans and opposing Democrats, it definitely does move the needle in favor of Young.
Former Indiana Governor and Senator Evan Bayh is running against Young. So how do their campaign funds measure against each other now?
Well, the Chamber's money doesn't go directly into Young's account, so Bayh still has a sizable lead here. But a big part of this race is going to be outside money, and both the Democratic and Republican Senate campaign committees are already spending money in Indiana, and they're showing no signs of stopping.
Now, in the past, Bayh worked with the Chamber of Commerce. What changed?
Well, the chamber differentiates between the work Bayh did for them after he left the Senate and his votes in the Senate. His voting record with chamber priorities while he was in the Senate is only about 55% compared to Todd Young's 91%.
So is this race representative of something larger at play in the state or even the country?
Well, U.S. Chamber Vice President Rob Angstrom perhaps put it best when he said the Senate majority runs through Indiana. This race will play a huge role in deciding which party controls the Senate next year.
Brandon, some previously called Bayh the favorite because of his extensive relationship with Indiana politics. Does this still look to be true?
Yeah, I'd say he's still the favorite, which is evidenced a lot by how negative the attacks coming from the Young campaign have been. And a big part of that is his name recognition, but I would expect this race to tighten up before November.
All right, thank you very much, Brandon. Experts expect that by the year 2050, the agriculture industry will need to produce 40% more food in order to keep up with the growing population. But that's becoming more challenging for farmers. WTIU's Lindsay Wright reports on how an effort to decrease air pollution is impacting the food on your plate.
Rich Mort is a fourth-generation farmer. He and his dad own about 2,000 acres in Pendleton. Growing conditions have been pretty good this season and Mort's fields look beautiful. But rewind to a couple years ago. The corn plants looked unhealthy. They had a distinctive yellowish color.
And there'll be yellow streaks down between those lines. And as that corn is, knee high, the shin to knee high, you'll see just it looks like a mass yellow across the field.
The soil was deficient in sulfur. It's something that's affecting a lot of farmers, and it's a growing problem. The Clean Air Act was amended in 1990 to strengthen air pollution requirements. The plan was to make the air better for everyone to breathe, but doing so created some unintended consequences.
The acid rain problem, in fact, started because we got rid of soot. So when soot got out of the smokestack, suddenly we had acid rain, and so then they cut the SO2 out of the smokestacks, and now we have lack of sulfur for crops.
And sulfur is essential. According to agronomy professors from Purdue, most plants need between 20 to 50 pounds of sulfur every year to produce a normal yield. The amount of sulfur has been decreasing consistently for the last 30 or so years, but in the last 5, it's decreased by half.
So now we sit in a situation where the state is getting about 10 pounds per acre in the north and something a little bit less than 20 pounds per acre in the south, and it's not enough. And the south part has continued to shrink year after year.
Farmers can apply sulfur supplements, and many do, but some aren't applying when they need to. And for Mort and his dad, it was both.
We planted the same maturity corn the same day, same population, same tillage practice, same everything. The only difference was I variable rated my fertilizer and I put on a ton to the acre of gypsum. My dad straight rated his fertilizer and he put on no gypsum.
Gypsum is calcium sulfate dihydrate, a natural mineral. Mort used it on his half of the corn and he calls the results remarkable.
You were driving 50 miles an hour down the road and there was a very distinct line where our corn that I put gypsum on was dark, healthy green, where Dad did not. It had a very yellow, sulfur deficient look to it.
And then they shelled the corn.
When we got the data out of the 2630 John Deere display that we run and we compared that in Apex, it ended up being a 42 bushel an acre difference.
Not only that, but after breaking down the cost per acre, Mort's input cost was $19 an acre cheaper than his dad's. It took some time, but Mort's dad is on board with gypsum after seeing the results. The sand-like material provided the sulfur in the right form and at the right time.
So it's critical in the timing that the plant get that sulfur, not only in the beginning but throughout its life, but certainly in the beginning as the yields are being established.
Mort is proud of the results, but he and agronomy experts stress farming is situational and varies season to season. Mort says it's impossible to take all the risk out of the farming industry, but adapting different practices and trying new technology can be helpful.
I ordered a crystal ball for farming. It just hasn't showed up yet. So.
Grant says it's necessary to monitor this issue long-term in order to see an overall trend. And a small studio in the Indiana State Library is bringing stories to the visually impaired. WTIU's Meredith Juliet reports.
I followed a stake and rider fence, half lit, half hidden. I gotta start over on that.
This is what a day of work looks like for Indiana Voices director Lyndon Kaufman, reading and editing and rereading books and magazines.
What we do is we produce books here, audiobooks for the blind, visually impaired, as well as physically impaired people that have what I like to say is like an Indiana signature.
10 to 12 volunteers come in each week. They read for about an hour while Kaufman records the audio. All of the books are written by Indiana authors or have a connection to the Hoosier State.
We've got a few really nice comments. There are some people that like one or two of my narrators who have sent nice notes back with the cartridges saying they really like this person.
It's typical for bestsellers to be made into audiobooks, but that leaves countless other titles that never get recorded. Indiana Voices has recorded 122 books, as well as a majority of outdoor Indiana magazines. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Meredith Juliet.
Indiana Voices is part of a larger program called the Talking Library, which circulates more than 115,000 books and magazines to people here in Indiana. And Monday is the deadline for residents to submit votes for Indiana's new license plate design. The winning design will be used beginning in January. Residents can vote on the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles website. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers, now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.